The meeting at the grave. The autumn afternoon was quiet and still. Golden leaves drifted slowly from the trees, carpeting the ground in shades of amber and rust. The cemetery stretched out peacefully under the fading sunlight, row upon row of gray headstones standing like silent witnesses to countless stories of love and loss. Sarah Mitchell walked slowly along the gravel path, her daughter Maya sleeping against her shoulder. The little girl was barely 2 years old, her small hand clutching the fabric of Sarah's worn cardigan. In Sarah's other hand was a canvas tote bag, filled with the few groceries she'd been able to afford that week. And tucked inside, wrapped carefully in tissue paper, was a small bouquet of wildflowers she'd picked from the roadside. Sarah's steps were heavy. Not from the weight of her sleeping daughter, but from the weight of everything else. The unpaid bills. The eviction notice. The job she'd lost 3 weeks ago when Maya got sick and Sarah had to stay home. The emptiness that seemed to press down on her from all sides. She reached the grave she'd been searching for and stopped. The headstone was simple, made of pale gray granite. Sarah knelt down carefully, adjusting Maya in her arms. She placed the wildflowers at the base of the stone, her hands trembling slightly. And then the tears came. They started slowly at first, just a few drops sliding down her cheeks. But then they came faster, harder, until Sarah was crying openly, her shoulders shaking with silent sobs. She tried to be quiet, tried not to wake Maya, but the grief and exhaustion and fear all came pouring out at once. "I'm so sorry," Sarah whispered to the headstone. "I'm so sorry I couldn't. I couldn't do better. I tried. I really tried." She didn't hear the footsteps approaching behind her. Didn't notice the tall figure in the expensive suit standing a few feet away, holding a large bouquet of white chrysanthemums. "Excuse me," a gentle voice said. Sarah gasped and turned, quickly wiping at her tears. A man stood there, probably in his mid-30s, with dark hair and kind eyes. His clothes looked expensive, tailored and clean. Everything about him spoke of wealth and success. It looked completely out of place next to Sarah in her faded dress and threadbare cardigan. "I'm sorry," Sarah said quickly, starting to stand. "I didn't mean to. Ella move. I'm sorry." "No, please," the man said, raising a hand. "Don't apologize. I'd grave your wrath." He paused, his expression shifting to something Sarah couldn't quite read. "That's my wife's grave." Sarah's eyes went wide. She looked down at the headstone, reading the inscription she'd been too blurred with tears to fully see before. Asterisco Catherine Morrison. Asterisco beloved wife. Asterisco her kindness changed the world. "Oh no," Sarah breathed. "I'm so sorry. I thought I was looking for my mother's grave. I must have gotten confused. The rows all look so similar, and But the man, Mr. Morrison, was shaking his head slowly. He stepped closer, his eyes fixed on the headstone. "Your mother's grave? It's near here?" "Yes," Sarah said, her voice small. Just 3 rows over. I visit whenever I can. I bring flowers." She gestured helplessly at the wildflowers at the base of his wife's headstone. "I'll take these." "I'm so sorry for the confusion." "No," Mr. Morrison said softly. "Leave them. They're beautiful." He knelt down beside where Sarah had been sitting and placed his own elaborate bouquet next to her simple wildflowers. For a long moment, he was quiet, just staring at the name on the stone. Then he turned to look at Sarah. Really look at her. He saw the worn clothes. The sleeping child. The tote bag with its meager contents. The exhaustion in her eyes. "What's your story?" he asked quietly. Sarah blinked. "My story?" "Yes." Mr. Morrison's voice was gentle but insistent. "You were crying. Not just sad tears. Those were the tears of someone carrying too much. So I'm asking. What's your story?" Sarah wanted to say it was nothing. Wanted to smile and make an excuse and walk away. But something about this stranger's kindness, here in this place of grief, made the truth come spilling out. I lost my job, she said, her voice cracking. My daughter got sick, and I had to stay home to take care of her. My boss said he understood, but then he let me go anyway. I've been trying to find work, but everywhere wants someone who can work evenings and weekends, and I don't have anyone to watch my mother. She glanced toward the rows of graves. She passed away last year. She was the only family I had. Millionaire Morrison listened without interrupting. His expression was attentive, focused. I got an eviction notice yesterday, Sarah continued, and now the tears were coming again. I have 2 weeks to come up with 3 months, rent or we're out on the street. I don't know what to do. I've tried everything. Food banks. Assistance programs. But there's always a waiting list or I don't qualify or. She trailed off, wiping at her eyes. I'm sorry. You don't need to hear all this. You should go. Wait, Millionaire Morrison said. He was quiet for a moment, looking down at his wife's grave. When he spoke again, his voice was thick with emotion. Caterine. My wife. She passed away 2 years ago cancer. I took a breath. Before she died, she made me promise something. She said, don't just make money, Richard. Use it to help people. Really help them. The way people helped us when we had nothing. I turned to face Sarah fully. We weren't always wealthy. Caterine and I started with nothing. We lived in a tiny apartment with holes in the walls. We ate ramen for dinner most nights. And when Catherine got sick the first time, before the cancer, when it was just pneumonia, we couldn't afford the medicine. A stranger helped us. Paid for everything. We never even learned his name. Sarah listened, holding Maya a little closer. Catherine got better, Millionaire Morrison continued. And we promised ourselves that if we ever had the chance, we'd pay that kindness forward. We built our business together. Morrison Tech Solutions. It became successful beyond our dreams. And Catherine spent every day finding ways to help people. Scholarships. Medical funds. Housing assistance. His voice broke. And then she got sick again. And this time, all our money couldn't save her. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a business card. Then he pulled out a pen and wrote something on the back. This is my personal number, he said, handing it to Sarah. Call me tomorrow morning. He owns several properties in the city. One of them, a nice apartment in a safe neighborhood, just became available. It's yours, rent-free for 6 months. That gives you time to get back on your feet. Sarah stared at the card, unable to speak. And I'm looking for an office manager, Millionaire Morrison added. Someone organized, responsible, someone who understands what it means to work hard. The position comes with flexible hours and on-site childcare. If you're interested, we can talk about it. He can't. Sarah's voice failed her. Tears streamed down her face, but they were different tears now. You can, Millionaire Morrison said firmly but kindly. And you will. Because that's what Catherine would want. That's what she made me promise. To help people who need it. To see people who others overlook. He stood up, brushing grass from his knees. You came to the wrong grave today, Sarah. Or maybe. He looked down at his wife's headstone. Maybe you came to exactly the right one. Sarah couldn't find words. She could only nod, clutching the business card like a lifeline. Millionaire Morrison picked up his bouquet and straightened it slightly. I come here every week, he said. Same day, same time. If you ever want to talk, or if you need anything, you can find me here. He paused. And bring Maya. Caterina loved children. She would have been happy to know a little girl played near her resting place. He started to walk away, then turned back. Tomorrow morning, Sarah. Calme. This isn't charity. It's a promise I made. And I intend to keep it. Sarah watched him disappear down the path between the graves. She looked down at Maya, still sleeping peacefully, unaware that everything had just changed. Then she looked at Catherine Morrison's grave, at the wildflowers and the expensive bouquet sitting side by side. "Thank you," Sarah whispered. The autumn wind rustled through the trees, carrying leaves in gentle circles. And for the first time in months, Sarah felt something she'd almost forgotten existed. Hope.